We own.
Well, as they say, many are called and few are chosen. Clint, he's actually frozen. He's been here the longest, stuck. So it's going on what? Clint, I always ask you. I can't remember. I'm
about to be the 5th year.
okay. Wow. So 5 years, and Clint's been there through a lot of ups and downs, and stuck with us. And we most definitely appreciate your loyalty and dedication to Kingdom Performance. So we definitely appreciate it, and that's why you have the honor of being our first guest on episode 3.
There it is. Yeah, man. In this business, you're only or in life, you're only as good as your team, right? I mean, you can have a vision, you can have an idea, but if you don't have the proper people in position, it's never going to sustain, right? So Clint's been one of those guys who, from day one, came in as a humble servant, wanting to learn, wanting to grow, and with that, I mean, we can go anywhere because we feel like, he's going to be the type of person that's going to buy into the philosophies of the kingdom. He's done a phenomenal job thus far, continues to grow every single year. And we're just happy to have you on, man. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the community. Let's get after it. So let's kind of go back into the backstory as far as like, how did you come into the kingdom?
All right, so that goes back all the way to 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated from Texas Tech and had a degree in exercise sports science.
And when you're not wearing Kingdom Performance gear, you're wearing Texas Tech gear.
That's right, Texas Tech.
And Dallas Mavs.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Mavs. But yeah, Texas Tech in 2011, graduated exercise sports science degree, and I knew I wanted to do something in sports, and specifically basketball.
Yeah.
And so started looking for jobs, found a job doing analytical work for Synergy Sports Technology. Did that for about 5-6 years, and during that time, my brother James, he got a job at the same school district you were working at, and his first year he was focused cross country, track, but he had a basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, hey, let me come help out, and he let me come help out. The next year, he moves from middle school to high school, and I follow along with him, and that's where I meet you. And you had a team that you've been put together for it was their 4th year. It's all seniors.
Mm-hmm.
And I come along, and I'm just trying my best to keep up with you, because I knew all the X's and O's, like play, stuff like that, but the development, the training behind it, I thought I knew it, but I didn't know anything. And really just making sure that I could be there every day, be consistent, and just try to learn from you at ILT. And then that led me to the opportunity to come here at Kingdom with you. Y'all had an opening, and you knew I was going to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't getting paid at ILT, but I was there every day. I was going out scouting teams for you. I was doing everything. But then I get a chance at Kingdom, and I knew, okay, if they're going to have people coming in that played college basketball, that have maybe played overseas, the only way that I can make my place and actually stay is being consistent, being here every day. No, don't be late. Trying to learn as much as I can, not think that I know everything, but learn as much as I can from you and from you. And try to get all that knowledge and then be able to give it to the kids. So I think it was 2018, January 18, that I came along with Kingdom. And I hit the ground running, and I haven't looked back since.
Man, that's real, man. And I'm just thinking about, when you came to ILT, shout out to ILT, was there for 8 years, and we'll do another episode on the school system, education system, and all that good stuff. But to have you come into the fold and just automatically just be like, what can I do? Like, how can I serve? Like, how can I find a need to evolve what's happening? Like, just that mentality that you had alone was enough to get me excited, right? Because before you had got there, I was doing everything on my own, right? I was trying to run this shit solo. We never could really have assistant coaches like that. And so the fact that they were allowing me to have you made my job a whole lot easier. And it was cool. We had a great group of kids, some guys that were hungry, some guys that were motivated, who worked hard, went out there and beat some 5A, 6A, and some TAP schools, and it was a great experience. And the fact that you would put the kids in your car, drive them wherever, or go out to eat. If a kid needed some food, you were buying food for the kids. So all those little things that I just noticed over the course of the year that you were there, I was like, this is definitely somebody that I can have on my team. This is somebody who is loyal, somebody who's consistent and committed. And, like they say, your best ability is your availability. And the fact that you made yourself available without pay let me know when you did get paid, you were going to take it to a whole nother level. Scouting, you were at the games, detailed scouting reports, watching film, developing spreadsheets for the stats. We were helping players get recruited. You were doing the stats and all that for all the games. So all those little intricate details, I knew it was an asset. And I was like, we got to get this guy in Kingdom. I told Rod, I was like, hey, man, we got this guy. He looks like Jesus, and I think the kingdom needs a Jesus walking around and and helping us get to the next level. So it was awesome, man, and I'm just blessed to be sitting next to you and have you here for this long.
Mm-hmm. And so, what's been some of the, just with Kingdom Performance in general, what's been some other things that's kept you motivated for so long?
Really, and it's why I went to ILT in the first place, is I was doing Synergy, and that's all behind the computer. You're helping people, but you don't actually get to see it in real life and in the flesh.
Yeah, explain Synergy for those that don't know.
Those that don't know, Synergy Sports, they do analytical work on NBA, college, overseas basketball. We do video clips of every offensive shot attempt for any player on the team. Really, you can break it down into some deep analytical stuff in basketball, like how many times does a player go right off the right block, or how many times does he go off his left shoulder, and really dig down deep. And you can do multiple stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
You can break it down and scouting, like I'm going to go against this player. How am I going to stop him? Okay, he is 75% from the right side, so I know I'm going to force him left.
Mm-hmm.
It can also work in NBA, trying to recruit a college kid, or do I want to draft this guy? I can go back and look at every single shot he took in his college career through the Synergy app. And, okay, is he taking good shots? Is he taking bad shots? Is this type of kid that I can develop into something?
Mm-hmm.
And so it really was the first company that was doing the deep analytical work in the basketball world.
Yeah.
And so, that's great for teams, great for players. But for me, I wasn't getting to see the benefit of my work so much. So coming to ILT and then coming to Kingdom, you get to see the players day in, day out. You get to see their growth and their development. You get to see your work paying off. Because I know the work that I'm putting in with these kids, I see it the next day. I see it a week. I see it a month from now when they're in their school games and they're playing and they're using the moves we work on in their school games or in their AAU games, and you see their development.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. So, what was your day-to-day like being on Synergy? To talk a little bit more about that, the hours and how many games you have to go through, kind of go through the detail of that operation.
So, the hours worked out perfect for me because I'm a night person.
Mm-hmm.
So, for Synergy, as soon as those basketball games are over, they want somebody doing them so that team can have it that night or that next morning. So, college games start 6 p.m. They can end at midnight-ish,
mm-hmm.
and the games are ready right then. So I'm doing about 4 games a night, which take about 2 hours, so 8 hours of the night. I'm just watching basketball and breaking it down.
Okay.
I was a phase 2 logger, so I'm really breaking down everything about the play. How does it start? Is it a pick and roll? Is it a basket cut? Is it a post up? Is it an ISO? There's so many little different ways that a play can be set up, and that's how they wanted us to start. So, hey, pick and roll, then where's it at?
Mm-hmm.
Is it high? Is it on the right side of the court, left side of the court? Which way are they going? Are they rejecting the screen? Are they going off the screen? Are the players switching off that? It's all types of, deep analytical stuff like that. But, so So it was 8 hours a night, starting about 10 p.m. till about 6. I was just watching basketball, doing stats on it.
Man.
And that was for about 4 or 5 days a week. And so that also gave me the time to be able to come to ILT because practices are started at like 3 or 4. Games end around the time where I need to get home and start working. So it worked out perfect where I could still work at Synergy and volunteer and help out.
Right. It made sense. So would you say that you got into Synergy on your plight to develop and to coach, or do you feel like you got involved with Synergy and that ignited your desire to coach?
So I always wanted to coach. That was like my goal coming out of college. Is like, okay, I want to go coach. I know it's probably going to be at a junior high. I'm going to need to coach football, track, do all these other things. But, basketball was like the love. Basketball is what I wanted to do. And then through that, when I was able to get to the ILT, to meet you, that's when it switched from like, I only want to coach to like, there's different layers to this, and being a trainer and learning how to develop an athlete is a lot more rewarding to me personally than having a team and trying to develop that team. And when you can impact that one individual, it like really makes a difference.
Man, we definitely connected off that.
And just hearing you break down, what you used to do at Synergy, I just view in my mind like in the game, because we record each of our tournaments, and you're a coach for our right now our 7th grade team, which was 6th graders.
I mean, but he's coached
every grade with us. But just seeing you in action when you're coaching, especially when you get excited and you're like, okay, come here guys, and you just write down the play on the fly, and you read, and I like to tease you and say that another coach is out coaching you, and then you get really serious and you really start writing down and plays on the fly and helping the players adjust to the other team. And I think that, Synergy and you working that experience with Synergy, helped you in your coaching as well.
Oh, it definitely did, because, watching 8 hours a game, you see plays. You see plays over and over again, run by different teams, a little different, maybe a little different cut here, different cut there, but it's all stuck up here.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's I think the biggest separator from like the old school game to the current state of basketball is, the IQ. Like these kids this day and age, man, athletically is crazy. I mean, these kids are super athletic, super talented, can do things that, we couldn't fathom of doing. A lot of it was because the training wasn't as involved as it is now. But I think when you have so much ability, sometimes you rely on that and you don't rely on the IQ aspect. So having somebody like Clint to combine, hey, we're going to bring that mental piece, we're going to bring that intelligence to your ability, right? I think that helps create, a more well-rounded athlete versus just working just off of God-given ability.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as far as like, what have been some of your challenges? Like, going through Synergy, being in that space to then transitioning to in-person, work with athletes, all ages, all skill levels, really, like you said, you hit the ground running. We threw you in the fire. That's what we say. We throw you in the fire from day one. We don't give you no time to think about it. Because if you think about it, you may think twice. So we threw you in the fire day one. What was going through your mind? What were some of the things that it took time for you to get adjusted and acclimated to throughout the process of developing players?
I think the training aspect of like, everybody knows like the simple like crossovers in between the legs, but like, when are you going to use those moves? Like, why would you use them? The whys. That's what you always ask. Like, you can do all these moves, but why are you doing this? When would you do those? So like, trying to get down that aspect of the training, of the development of, okay, I can do a step back now, but when is the proper time to use that step back? When's the proper time to attack the basket, bump that defender, and get the shot up? That is probably the most challenging aspect for me, just trying to learn all that on the fly. Because like I said, I know the X's and O's, I know the IQ part of the game, but the skill development, that was the most challenging part. And then I guess taking it from like these little kids, those are easy for me. That's really fundamental basketball. So, hitting the ground running with them was easy. But then, going from training a fifth grader or a third grader for the first hour and then going to a high school player that next hour, that's the challenge. Can you do both? Can you do all ages, or can you only do one? Can you only do high school kids and then get frustrated with the little ones? Or can you only do the little ones because you're not knowledgeable enough to do the older ones? And I might have been a little bit closer to that, not knowledgeable, but I was willing to learn. Like everything, even from the kids sometimes at that age, I was learning from them a little bit. And that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, your players teach you a lot. That's good, man. That's good. So how do you feel about, the analytical system that we have in place? And I'll have Rod, explain kind of the My Play platform and what we're doing here at Kingdom Performance, and then just kind of talk about how does that, help with the analytical piece and developing players, once he kind of breaks down what My Play is and how we implement it with our athletes.
So My Play is a system that we located because we always, even when we were at our other location at Landmark, I forgot, what was the first system? You were in the first system?
Our first system was just recording the
system with
iPads.
It was a system that you saw. They had the cameras up on the walls.
Oh, it was like, we never got it, right?
Right, we never got it.
Like PlaySite or something like that.
PlaySite. So that like sparked our interest. Like, man, it'd be neat if we had something like that. And then that was like years ago. So it always turns out once we come up with an idea or we find something, it might not happen then, but it could be years later. We always seem to bring it into fruition.
Yeah, attract it.
So like once we saw that and was like, man, that's awesome. And then 3 years later, once we had this location, then I started researching and came across My Play. Now that the technology is here and it's much more prevalent, so My Play is a system that we have cameras on the courts, can record live play in the gym, can actually go live online to where parents or athletes can see the training live from their device. And it also has a platform to where we're able to upload our games and then supply the analytics or provide the statistics, the stats for the game for every player, and they're able to utilize their device to review the games, watch the games. We're able to provide notes to each player. So it's a great system that we use in order to help the athletes get better each game instead of just going out and playing in a tournament
and not remembering what they did.
We're able to review the film with them. They're able to create highlights, and then the coaches create notes on those players that they see. So it's, a great system and something that we were able to find and then implement in the program. And so CLINT is very detailed and intricate in creating the highlights and providing the highlights and the notes to the players. So
with this year, I have the currently 7th grade boys, so I think this is a good grade to talk about this with, because before this year, the only film they probably watched was maybe their mom or dad filming their game, maybe just filming them in the game, not the whole game, and then them going home and maybe just watching like highlights of, hey, I made that layup or something. But what we're trying to teach these kids now, especially at the 7th grade level, is that you got to be a student of the game. And that's not only just watching NBA, college, high school, but watching yourself and trying to learn from your mistakes and maybe also your teammates' mistakes and getting better at it. So with the My Play system, it takes me right back to the Synergy days, but I actually get to see that. I get to see that person develop. So it's a lot more rewarding. But, breaking down the highlights, showing the kids where their mistakes are, sometimes you can tell them like, hey, you had that open lane. And at the time, they can't see it.
Yeah.
But you go put it on the film and you make a highlight and tell the kid, hey, you need to watch this. And then they see like, oh, I had the lane wide open and I stopped to take a jump shot.
Yeah, film don't lie.
So, that the My Play is just a great tool for us to help develop these kids. And, all ages can benefit from it, but especially the young ones, the elementary, the junior high, where it's their first real experience with film. And then that'll get them ready because, in high school, they're going to be film sessions. And have you ever sat through a film session before? Like, do you know what to expect? Because the first time you sit through it, it's probably going to be rough, right? How many tears we see in there when the kids actually see what they're doing, and it's like, oh, I thought I was doing a lot better. This isn't what I thought I was producing.
They can't hide from it. Yeah.
So My Play is just an awesome tool for us to help develop these athletes.
Yeah. And you said something that's key, like really teaching the kids how to watch film, how to watch the game, like, because a lot of the times, like, they're just waiting for the oohs and ahs, like the highlights or oh, you got dunked on, oh, you got your shot blocked. Like, they're only focused on those like 5% plays versus the transition. Like, did you stop somebody from going middle? Did you block out? Like, those plays are going to happen consistently all throughout the games. That's not so glamorized. You have to get used to seeing yourself in those positions and figure out, how do I get better at that? Because I'm going to be in this position more than I'm going to be dunking on somebody. So that's a good thing, man. The fact that you're taking the time and you're actually teaching these players how to evaluate themselves, because as we all know, when you get to a certain level in this game, high school particularly, maybe even middle school, like they just don't develop. Like, and I'm not going to say everybody, I'm not going to ever paint anything with a broad brush, but let's just keep it a buck. I mean, coaches just don't develop. I think the coaches are in the position a lot of the time, and it's not their fault. Sometimes their time is limited, right? So they're trying to put the kids in position to just win the game, or they don't have time for the skill development. They don't have time to really have one-on-one meetings with the players and film sessions to really break down and figure out, how can I improve your individual skill set? That's why we exist. So to be able to train up a kid to be able to help evaluate and develop themselves in spite of what the program looks like is, I think, key. And that's one of the pillars in our program and why we wanted to develop Kingdom Performance at the level that we are, because we want players to be prepared for whatever level, whatever team, whatever system, whatever personality you get plugged into, because sometimes you have no control, right? You don't have any control over who's coaching. You don't have any control over a job. Somebody gets fired, somebody gets put in. You don't know what's going to happen. So how do you maximize your own ability? How do you take control of your own growth consistently to be better? Because your clock is ticking. People can coach forever. You can't play forever. Right. So you got 4 years of high school. You can make all the excuses you can, but it's not going to help you. It's not going to get you another year back. So what can we do every day to help you develop your own self and evaluate your own self to position yourself for what you want to do in the future with this game?
And, going back to Kingdom Community, when we got the system, even told other programs or organizations and teams and trainers about it, and try to get them to see the importance of it. And because we're always trying to, whatever we do, whether it's the merchandise, we go through the struggle, we make the investment, get the machines and things of that nature, produce the product, and then try to get other organizations or teams or businesses to not have to make the same, go through the same pitfalls and things that we went through in order to get this project going. Yeah, be it the My Play or merchandise. And my thing is, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And I just always try to get others to take advantage of things that we have to offer. Yeah. You know what I mean? Be it the whatever system, the training, the whatever we got going on, I always try to, and we always try to bring other people on.
Yeah, but sometimes things can be ahead of its time. You know what I mean? Like Vertimax machines and all these things that we had invested in early on, people don't see the value in it, or just don't know. Like they just don't know about it, and so they try to do things the way that they're comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
But I think in time, it always makes sense in the end. So as we continue to, run this marathon, people see, okay, that piece that was added early on for Kingdom Performance is essential, and I can take heed to that to be able to plug it into my operation to be better. Yeah. And I think that's just the biggest thing.
As an example of the my play working and benefiting just happened this week. So we have a player at Texas Tech, Jalen, and
shout out JT.
I had my 7th grade team watch his first game at Tech, and we're watching it. He hits a 3 early on. Then he goes to the defensive end. He's not guarding the ball, but he's in help. And my players immediately is like, "Oh, look, he's in help." Oh, then he gets a deflection. And they get all excited about the little things, like you're talking about. At first, it's all about who's going to get their ankles broken, who's going to get dunked on. And now we watch a college basketball game together, and they're talking about the help defense.
Yeah,
I get excited about that as a coach when your players start realizing it's not all about that.
Yeah,
and it's about, okay, am I in help defense? This guy that's a D1 athlete is in help defense, and he gets a deflection because of it.
Right.
So hopefully that translates to the games later this week, but that shows you that they're at least paying attention in the film room.
Right, and they're recognizing it.
My play is working and it's benefiting these athletes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's beneficial because those are going to be the plays, those are going to be the things that keeps them on the floor. Right, and I think that's what, you do a really good job of honing in on the details, right? Not flashy. You're focused on the little details that's going to help these players be more efficient, right? Be able to help their team win and to be able to have a sustainable career. And I think that's just a beautiful thing, man. So to kind of wrap up, what are some things that you feel like this community has helped you with development or anything? Like, how has the Kingdom community been a blessing to you in your life and in your journey?
And we've already talked a lot about the skills training part of it. That's been a huge part of my development for my profession is the skills training. But as a community, we do so much the special needs, that thing. When we started that at Landmark, that was big for me, just to see that we could take basketball and make people that we might not normally see as hey, we're going to go train these kids, but we're going to go help these kids. We're going to let these kids have fun, let them learn a little bit, and provide a little outlet for them. That stuff right there, that's what's good for me.
Yeah,
that's what that I really like about the Kingdom. What I like about y'all is it's not always about necessarily we're trying to find the best kid and just ride his coattails. We'll develop anybody. And then we'll also try to reach out and give back to the community. We did a food drive this year where we had food that we gave to, I think, the Plano schools. But just stuff like that, that's where it's the biggest difference in Kingdom compared to these other places I see.
Yeah. So that relationship piece, that's one thing that you really hone in on as well. Building that rapport with the kids and the parents. Talk about how important that is, supporting the athletes, not only in the Kingdom, but outside as well.
So, going to their games.
So again, talking about we do focus a lot on junior high kids. Of talking about them, this is their first time where they play for their schools. This is their first time where it's not just mommy and daddy going to your games, but they have maybe student sections. And then, if they have their trainer or coach come in, that puts a little bit, more significance on the game where it's okay, let's see what you got. And then for me as a trainer, I get to see, okay, is he using the stuff we're working on? Or is what type of system is their junior high running? What can I do watching their game now that I can translate to the training to make it where, okay, he can score more now? Because, we already know those junior high coaches. Sometimes they're just stipend. Sometimes they're football guys. So sometimes they don't necessarily know what they're doing. So me going watching the game, seeing their offense, okay, now I know where you're playing. I need to get you to get shots there. And just help develop that athlete from that aspect, because if we're just watching, the training, we're not seeing the product.
That's true. Yeah.
And so we got to see the product, and then, okay, is that product acceptable for our level, or do we need to jump it up?
And I love it. Every time Clint goes to a game, he's calling me from the parking lot. Hey, man, let's watch such and such. we need to work on this, and this. Like he's sending me bullet points of what we need to focus on to help that individual player grow. And that's why I love Coach Jesus, and I love his attention to detail. I love his heart, his spirit. And, you know, it was only right, man, to have you be the first guest on the show. And, you know, we're blessed to have you a part of our community. Like, I know you're talking about how much you've learned from us. Man, we've learned a lot from you. You know, your patience, you know, your persistence, you know, all those little things that we, you know, value in people. You bring that to the table, and the kids are watching, and the kids learning those things from you as well. So, man, I appreciate you, man. We wouldn't, you know, be here without you. We love you, and we're gonna continue to build this thing, man. So much love to you, brother, man. I appreciate you, man. It's all love, man. It's all about growth and development, and us, you know, chipping in to help, you know, push the culture forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anything else, Rod?
No, that's about it.
That's it, man.
That's it.
All right. Wrap it up.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, brother.